Alright, we're finally here. We finally have the Nier Automata collaboration. And first of all, we have 2B. So, 2B worth your gems or tickets? Let's find out. Let's find out. So, she is a defender, so she's not going to be a primary DPS. Although she could be. We're going to get into that. So, she has an assault rifle as her main weapon, but of course, I don't think this changes her weapon, but so she has an assault rifle. Let's take a look at what she can do inside the battle itself, because it usually does like a preview of what she can do. That's her special, but so she is using an assault rifle. It's not like the assault rifle is pretending to be the sword or something. No, so it doesn't look like she uses a sword at all, unless it's in the special. So first of all, you may think that this is pretty crazy, that first skill, which it is, but it requires some support. She requires certain combinations, like mast. If you pulled for mast, you are on a good set of pulling for 2B, that's for sure. If you don't have mast, you go for Quincy, who's the free one. You go for Sin, maybe Biscuit, and that one's kind of up in the air. Could combination with the bunny girls as well. It's a decent option. But what you really want is basically getting this HP. You want to get her HP as best as possible, and you also want to be having someone who could taunt, so that she stays at max HP and she stays at a high HP forever. And she needs someone to keep that healing going along that way. If she takes some damage, she wants to be at max HP because she loses damage if she does not have this max HP. So this second one here, if firing 300 times, it will definitely be possible with the machine gun, because she is assault rifle, which will be possible for sure. And then you get to deal some damage. And then when you activate the battle, you get to deal. Here's the part where I was talking about here, where you need to be at max HP. Attack 6.16% of the caster's final max HP continuously. So as long as you're staying at that huge HP, you're going to be able to stay at this attack buff here. Keep in mind this is all level 10, so most of you guys are going to be seeing like level 7, 6, 7 for a while, because it takes a while to get all those things going. So, and then we have the last one here, who, I mean, it looks pretty strong, but apparently her special modifier is really not that high. It looks crazy, but apparently it's kind of on the low side. I don't think it tells you here. Apparently I don't know where people are getting the number from. Maybe from data mines or something. But apparently this number is a lot lower than Scarlet, or one of these things is like lower than Scarlet. I'm assuming it's this. So Scarlet is an attacker, whereas 2B is a defender, so she's not going to be dealing as much damage. If you don't have Scarlet and you are just starting out, you're re-rolling, or you don't have very much going on with you, then of course 2B is going to be definitely the worth to go into, because with very little investment in terms of just gameplay wise, she's going to be better than Scarlet, who doesn't have very much, if that makes sense. Early on in the fight, 2B is going to be better. When it comes to being in later in the fight, of course Scarlet's going to pull ahead, because she just has more consistent DPS compared to. So with Annis, Summer Annis, and Scarlet, you'll probably be able to do more damage than with 2B on the team, but of course it's 2B, so you guys are here to see what 2B can do, right? So 2B requires also a specific team in order to function really, really well. She needs someone who can buff up her max HP even further. She needs someone who can taunt so that she doesn't lose any HP, because remember, like I said, you gotta be max HP for this to be very effective. She'll be very powerful like early on, as long as you're able to beat this very quickly. There are some bosses out there that take a long time, especially union raids and things like that. You probably wouldn't be bringing 2B for very long fights. For short fights, for things that you can only you'll do a few burst turns, then 2B is probably going to be quite good. But for extremely long fights, she's probably going to fall off. her damage will taper off compared to DPS that would be able to be in the fight longer, like Scarlet. So it's crazy that we're talking about Scarlet even nowadays. She's one of the first units in the game. You know, she's a pilgrim. She's still quite old at this point. I mean, in terms of gacha at this point, she's pretty old. And we're still comparing Scarlet to a new limited time character. To be fair, again, she's a defender, whereas Scarlet is an attacker. So I'm assuming they didn't really want to conflict with that, because I'm assuming if she was an attacker, I think she would do a lot more, because her attack stat would be pretty high. Like you can even see right here, that's pretty good with no equipment on, I believe. I don't think they have any equipment for this because you can't see it anyways, but that's pretty decent attack. And you can boost that up, of course, with the abnormal. Hopefully you've been collecting those if you're pulling for 2B. Hopefully you've been collecting those. But yeah, she would have pretty high attack. I think she could actually have more attack than Scarlet. It's just that the problem is that her modifier is a little on the low side. So, if you are a seasoned player that already has Scarlet and Summer Anise, or a combination of anything you want to combine with Modernia, you're already all set with Modernia. She's a burst 3. That's a big problem. There's a lot of burst 3s, and like I keep saying in every one of my videos when it comes to burst 3 characters, burst 3 characters are the hardest to replace or substitute, because you're already investing everything in that burst 3 to be able to deal the damage. And now here comes another burst 3, and here comes another burst 3. And whereas the burst 1 and 2, there's very few options for those, but you can just slot them in. Right now, unfortunately, there really isn't a lot of options for burst 1 and 2s, because a lot of them are super old, really niche, not worth using, you know, stuff like that. But there are some that are good. And then just imagine if 2B was a burst 2 character. I think we'd be talking a lot different, because then you could have 2B, and then you could have someone else like Scarlet. You could have Scarlet on the team. Then you could have Modernia with the. I mean, of course, you can still put Modernia. Because you definitely want 2 burst 3s for optimal rotations, because most burst 2 characters. There's one in particular that has a long cooldown, but most of them have pretty low cooldown. So you don't really want to be stuck with 2 burst 2s. You want to do 2 burst 1s, 1 burst 2, 2 burst 3s. That's what I've been running, and I'm almost at the end of the game again. So kind of know what I'm doing. A little bit maybe. And you could also swap it around if you only want to do 1 burst 1, but that feels awkward to me. You want your burst 2 to be some of the low cooldown. So I'm sure you could fit 2B in somewhere, and she'll be able to deal damage. It's just, again, like I'm saying, if you're already a seasoned player, the only reason why you would ever want to pull for 2B is because of 2B and it's Nier Automata and you love the game. Because she's going to deal a lot of damage with very little investment. But once you start investing in her and you start comparing her to Max, you know, Scarlet with overload equipment and things like that, it starts becoming a little more sketchy and things like that. So once again, I know that comparing 2B, a defender, to Scarlet, an attacker, is wrong, but a lot of people are. So I'm just one of many people comparing the two, because she's a burst 3. Like I'm saying, if she was a burst 2, we wouldn't even have this comparison. We'd be saying, wow, she's amazing. But now we have to put an asterisk. Yeah, she's really good, but it's like, so what score I'm going to be giving 2B? 8.5. I think it's pretty fair. She'll be able to do really good damage, like I said. It's just that her damage kind of tapers off when you compare to other burst 3 characters. And I think that's fair to say. I mean, I think it's fair to compare to burst 3 characters. Unless they're like supports, but I don't think you would. Typically, you don't want to run. I don't think are there even any support burst 3s? I don't know if there are any. If there is, I don't use them. But I think that would be the only comparison you wouldn't really want to make if there are any burst 3 supports. Yeah, 8.5 for 2B. I thought they were going to do A2 and 2B at the same time, but they are not. So A2 will be around eventually. I already saw her kit. If you haven't seen it, apparently she's going to be one of the best burst generators in the game, but of course she's also a burst 3 character, I believe. And so, once again, the same argument is it's another burst 3 character. We already have tons of burst 3s. They're not really giving us burst 1 and 2s. They should not have been burst 3 characters, because now they want you to run both of them at the same time and have them both be the burst 2 and burst 3 characters on your team. But it's like, I'd rather have Modernia in there. I'd rather have Scarlet in there. I'd rather, you know, do something else. So normally I'd do some pulls at the end of the video, but I think I'm gonna do that separately. I'm gonna pull it later, so that'll have more gems. I would like to get at least 20k gems, because I've seen people pull with much more gems and they didn't get very much. So I think instead I'll just wait. I'll just wait a little bit and make a pull video later for you guys. And if we get 1 or 2, then I'm done, because, you know, there's still A2 to worry about. In case maybe in our testing, that should be good as well. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate you. I wish I was like a huge whale and I could afford to just go LB3 on her and show her off, but I'm not a whale. I used to be like a dolphin at the beginning of the game, but I've cut off my spending because I need to watch what I'm spending. So unfortunately I won't be able to show her off, but I'm sure there's already tons of showcase videos on YouTube. So make sure to check those out as well to get a second opinion or a third opinion or even fourth opinion before you pull. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to see you in the very next video. Peace.